Hi everyone. I want to start out by saying thank you so much for the focus, energy, and openness that I saw in each and every one of you last night while Professor Chumbley was presenting. I know that a lot of times the restorative practice things kind of brings things up for people, and I was just really impressed um, with the love that I felt in the room as people were going through each step of this and as he was sharing. So thank you very much for that. All right, I'm going to take my video off and go through the expectations for this week. The link to the PowerPoint, last night's PowerPoint, is right here. Let's see, that's on week 6. And we went through, I know we went through a lot of things. We repaired the harm, we brought it all together. We built a culture that meets our needs. We talked about the history of restorative practices. And we also talked about the changes that we're making within the course based on your feedback. Yes. So anyway, if you have questions about this, please let us know. We really want you to feel as comfortable with restorative practices as you can so that you can implement them within your classrooms and schools when you get there. So what's next? So one is the case study. So the case study, remember this is we did this a few weeks ago. And one thing you're going to be turning in, so number 1 is the team meeting notes. And I made the adjustments based on the recommendations you had, but somebody took notes while you presented on your case study, and you each had different roles of the team meeting agenda, or for the team meeting, of recorder, timer, facilitator, and observer. The big thing that we're looking at here was, were you able to kind of get through the agenda items, and were you able to identify roles? So this was really a practice meeting. One of the questions that came up is the who and by when. So because our multidisciplinary teams are from, right now we're just different educators coming together, special ed and general ed, then from different schools, then you most likely will be the person that's in charge of all of these areas. But for example, if one of the pieces of information that you still needed was maybe to talk to a teacher, then you could put that teacher's role, like math teacher, and then your role as well. Okay, so then the second thing is the 3-week schedule analysis. So I think that's here. Okay, so here we go. This is the schedule analysis that I asked you to do. And because not all of you are in the classroom for one full day, then I said just, try to get as many points as you can over the next 3 weeks so you can check to see, is there a time of day issue for your student? Is it certain classes where they struggle? How excessive is the behavior? What is the type of grouping that's going on when the behavior is going on? And then what kind of tasks are they doing? And then what staff are present? Because you can tell a lot about a student based on these things. And so there was an example in your book. There was an example on the online documents that are provided with your book. And I also gave you that folder. So it's the Bambara folder. Here we go. Whoops, that's not it. Bambara right there. So the Bambara folder with all the filled and unfilled documents for this course. And then there's the safety plan, and we did this as a group. And so you're just going to turn in one, each one of you are going to turn in the same one from your group, and you just had to choose one of your students and kind of come up with a plan on how you would help them through each one of these phases. So hopefully that makes sense. And so you'll turn in those 3 documents. Then you're going to be turning in your critical reflection, which is just watching this short video, telling how it relates to your placement. And remember, this is like a paragraph where you bring out some points of the video and you talk about the connection to your paragraph, and then possibly from Professor Pariser's textbook as well, and how it also relates to the video. We intentionally use this video with the section that you just read from her book. So hopefully you can see where those connections are. And then the second question is really, first of all, what resonated with you in the restorative practices that we did? And then what would you like to know more about? And for those of you who missed class, then for this one, I would make sure that I read through the PowerPoint and then looked at where the PowerPoint was matching up with the textbook. And you can still respond to this question even if you weren't there, or I believe you can. So okay, let's talk about what to expect for next week, because I want you to be prepared for that as well. So here we go. The RP classes. Oh, I'm sorry. One other thing is that you will be reading Professor Pariser's book 120 to 153, and then the Bambara book, page 49 to 72, and then we're recommending that you preview pages 73 to 120. What we're going to do is we're going to jigsaw at the beginning of class. We're going to jigsaw the Bambara chapter, and so that means that you'll send one, or if you have a group of 5, maybe 2 people to the different sections of the class, and then in those groups you'll read that section, you'll pull out the important information, and then each one of you will go back to your SST groups, and you'll present on the section of that chapter that you read and what important information is there. And then we're going to move into our SST, mock SST. And so this is really around case study stage 3. So we're going to have meeting notes, form 2A and 2B, and then you have, once again, a few weeks to get all of that done. The other thing that was moved was, instead of doing the trauma-informed online teaching and having to turn in the case study, the critical reflection, and then do an online module, we moved that to next week. And then I tried to take this chapter reading, I put that into class rather than having to do that at home, to hopefully alleviate some stress and kind of even out the workload for each week. Let me see if I'm going to show you these documents as well. So it's the 2A and 2B, forms 2A and 2B that we're really looking at. So remember, you can go through and you find the filled in version of 2A. And you can see that you're just going to go through, you're going to talk about people who are providing the information, and then you're doing the classroom climate, looking at the classroom climate. You're going to be looking into the quality of life, and you might not be able to fill all of this in during the class, but you'll be able to know at least what you're going to look for. But you're using your review of records and the schedule analysis to start working on this document. And then the academics, which you should have from the review of records. Communication style, which you should have from also observing the student. Any medical issues. Then the target behavior. So here it's got 4 target behaviors. I've only asked you to do 1 for this class, 2 if you really felt the need to. And then we have the current intervention, so what's worked, what hasn't, what are your preliminary hunches, so why do you think this behavior is happening in this way, and then decisions and next steps. The other piece is, let me just go back, is, and this is all part of the reading that we're going to do at the beginning of class, is how to use an ABC checklist, observations, and interval data as well, or scatter plot data. And so, I'll just quickly show you these documents, but we're going to go over them as well next week. And you're going to learn how and decide which type of data you should be gathering for the next SST that we're having. So that brings us up to date with this week. Oh, and then just one other reminder, that we created the discussion board. So I'm going to go to the discussion board right now. We have 2 topics. This is optional. It looks like one person's already shared their Weebly. And then if you have any questions, you can do that. So right here, we can click on here and find out who's shared. And it looks like Allison did. And so you can go through, take a look at her Weebly, give her some feedback, so you can reply, you can quote, well, that's for everybody else, but you can reply to, giving her some feedback as well. So I highly recommend you use this. This is not a requirement of this course, but it is a support tool that we have put into the course, hopefully to help you. So if you have any questions, of course, feel free to reach out. We are here to help you, and we do care about you very much. So thank you so much for the work that you're doing. All right, bye-bye.